Hello, welcome back to Nanashir Academy. Today we are going to learn an English poem where the mind is without fear. This poem was written when British ruled our country. We were slave to a foreign power. Rabindranath Tagore, the great Indian nationalist and visionary, wanted India to awaken to a bright dawn of freedom. This freedom is a freedom from slavery as well as from our own mental chains. Now, about the poet. Rabindranath Tagore was an Indian polymath, poet, writer, playwright, composer, philosopher, social reformer, and painter. He became the first non European to win the Nobel Prize in Literature in 1913 for Gitanjali. Now, the poem is where the mind is without fear and the head is held high, where knowledge is free, where the world has not been broken up into fragments by narrow domestic walls, where words comes out from the depth of truth, where tireless strength stretch its arms toward perfection, where the clear stream of vision has not lost its way into the dreary desert sand of dead habit, where the mind is led forward by thee into ever widening thought and action, into that heaven of freedom, my Father, let my country awake. Now, the difficult words used in this poem are first one, head is held high means self respect. Next, tireless. Tireless means without getting tired. Fragments. Fragments means small pieces. Now, striving means motivated or try hard. Stretches means expands. Stream means river. Reason means logical thinking or intellect. Dairy means lifeless. Bad habit means old custom. Awake means to get up from sleep. Now, explanation of the poem. Lines are where the mind is without fear and the head is held high, where knowledge is free. In this line, the poet prays to the Almighty that his countrymen should be free from any fear of harassment or forced compulsion. He wished that everyone in his country has his head held high in dignity. In other words, in a free country, every person should be fearless and should have a sense of self-dignity. In the second line, the poet dreams of a nation where knowledge would be free. Education should not be restricted to the upper class only, but everybody should be allowed to acquire knowledge. Not only that, the children should learn freely from the nature and the world around them. Now, next lines are where the world has not been broken up into fragments by narrow domestic walls, where words come out from the depth of truth. The explanation of these lines is the poet emphasized the unity of not only of his countrymen but also of the entire world. He thinks there should be no division among people based on their caste, creed, color, region, or religion or other baseless superstitions. In other words, prejudice and superstition should not divide the people in groups and break their unity. Further, the poet wants a nation where people are truthful. They should not be superficial and words should come out from the depth of their heart. Now, the next line is where tireless striving stretches its arms toward perfection. Explanation of this line is the poet wants everyone to work hard to reach their goal and in the long run to reach perfection. He thinks they should not be tired by working. People should not be lazy and ignoring their work. Next lines are where the clear streams of reason has not lost its way into the dreary desert sand of dead habit. The explanation of this line is the poet compares reason or logical thinking to a clear stream and in the next line compares bad habits or superstitious beliefs to a dreary desert. He wants the stream of reason not to lose its way into the desert of prejudice. It means that people thought should be monitored by rational thinking, not by superstition. Now the next lines of the poems are, where the mind is led forward by thee into ever-widening thought and action. The explanation of this line is, the poet wishes his countrymen should be progressive and broad-minded. He wants that their minds are led forward to ever-widening thought and action by the Almighty. In short, we should be open minded and do something unusual or extraordinary, overcoming the narrowness of mind. The last line of the poem is, into that heaven of freedom, my father, let my country awake. The explanation of this line is, the poet addresses the god as father. He asks him to awaken his country into such a heaven of freedom where the above conditions meet. Now the literary device used in this poem are, first one, alliteration. Use of sound H at the start of words. Head is held high in the first line, drawing stretch in the last line of this paragraph. Second is anaphora, use of repeated words at the beginning of two or more consecutive lines, use of where. Third is personification. In personification, a thing, an idea, or an animal is given human attributes. Personification is here in the last line, tireless, strong, stretch its arms. Metaphor. Metaphor means a word or a phrase that is used in an imaginative way to show that something, somebody has the same qualities as another thing. Here, metaphor is here in the third, fourth, and the fifth line of this paragraph. Now, in the second stanza of the poem is, first one, alliteration, use of sound D at the start of words, dairy, desert, dad, or freedom, my father. Second is anaphora, use of repeated words at the beginning of two or more consecutive lines, use of into. Third is personification. Here in this paragraph, clear streams, let my country awake. Here personification is there. Fourth is metaphor. In this stanza, in the first line, second line, or in the last line, there is metaphor. Fifth one is the synecdoche, a figure of speech in which a part is made to represent the whole or vice versa. Here in country, in the last line, the word country, it shows this characteristic. Now theme of the poem. In this poem, the poet's message is very clear. The theme of the poem is absolute freedom, where people live without fear and free from superstitious beliefs. If the people of a nation are not wise enough to lead a happy and peaceful life free from all evils, they cannot enjoy their freedom well. According to the poet, only political freedom is not so important unless you are fearless, self-dignified, knowledgeable, truthful, hardworking, and broad-minded. Now, summary of the poem. This poem is written by Rabindranath Tagore during pre-independence days when India was a colony of British. The poet wants that the citizens of his country to be living in a free state. He is expressing his views that there should be a country where people live without any kind of fear and with broad dignity or self-respect. Next, the education should be accessible to all irrespective to their caste, creed, and religions. There should be no social layer that stops the people from taking education. There should be one education for all without discrimination. The next appeal is that the people of the country should be living united, not to be divided by the social barriers like casteism, regionalism, or religion, etc. In the next line, the poet says that people must remain free from superstitions and must try to achieve perfection in their skill set. In the end, the poet requests God that let his country get awakened in all those conditions which he mentioned earlier. Now the poetic device in the poem. First one is the alliteration. Alliteration means repetition of consonant sound at the start of two or more words. Here, head is held high, H sound is repeated. Strong stretch its arms, S sound is repeated. Dairy, desert, sand of dead, D sound is repeated. freedom my father, F sound is repeated. Second is metaphor, a direct comparison between two things without using like or as, where narrow domestic walls, where from the depth of truth, where the clear stream of reason has not lost its way into the dreary desert sand of dead habit. Third one is personification. Human characteristic is given to non-living or an animal. For example, tireless strowing stretches its arm, let my country awake. Fourth is anaphora, repetition of words at the beginning of two or more consecutive lines, use of where and into. Synecdoche, a figure of speech in which a part is made to represent the whole or vice versa. In this poem, in the last line, the word country is used. Now, short question and answer. First one, what is meant by the mind is without fear and head is held high? Take the correct answer. We are given three options: to be fearless or self-respecting, to be proud of one high position, to stand straight and be carefree. Answer to this question is first option, to be fearless and self-respecting. Second question, the domestic walls are usually associated with safety, comfort and love. Are these the feelings evoked by the phrase narrow domestic walls? If not, choose the correct answer from the one given below. We are given three options. First one, small house which make us feel cramped, ideas which are petty and narrow-minded, a house divided into rooms by walls. Now the answer of this question is second option, idea which are petty and narrow-minded. Third question, what does the poet mean by where knowledge is free? Now the answer to this question is it means knowledge is available to all without any discrimination. Question number 4, why has the word tireless been used to describe strowing? Answer to this question is because it is a continuous process. Fifth question, what is compared with clear stream? Answer to this question is clarity of thought is compared with clear stream. Next question, where has reason lost its way? Answer to this question is in the dreary desert of dead habit. Question number 7, look at the line dreary desert sand of dead habit. The sound D is repeated 4 times. Why? The repetition of sound gives the line a musical quality. This poetic device is called alliteration. We will now go back to the first part of the poem. Can you pick out 2 lines where letter and sound are repeated? Answer to this question is first one, the head is held high. Second, tireless strowing stretches its arm. Next question, how does the poet describe heaven of freedom? Answer to this question is where the head is held high, knowledge is free, where people are open-minded and rational. Next question, who does the poet address as thee and my father? Answer to this question is God. Next, in the last question, pick out metaphor and simile from the line given below. But swift as dream myself I found within the pilot pot. The wind was a torrent of darkness and the road was a ribbon of moonlight. The ship went down like lead. I passed like night from land to land. Here, metaphor is here. First, wind was a torrent of darkness. Road was a ribbon of moonlight. Simile. In simile, as or like are used. So, first one, swift as dreams. Ship went down like lead. I passed like night. Now, long question answer. First one, what do the expression mind is without free and head is held high means? Answer to this question is, the poet says that no citizen of his country should live in fear on his mind. Instead, they should hold their head up fearlessly and have confidence in themselves. Second question is, what is the impact when knowledge is not free? Answer to this question is, when knowledge is not free, then people who are poor will not get right education and will become a thief or a labor and will decrease human capital and economy of India. Next question, What breaks the world into fragments? Answer to this question is the world is broken into fragments by narrow domestic walls like caste, system, social classes, religion, color, creed, and so on. Next question. What does the line where words come out from the depth of truth mean? Answer to this question is the poet wants his countrymen to be truthful and sincere. They should not tell lie, they should speak what they feel. They should be guided by clear thinking in any matter. Next question. Why has the poet used the word tireless to describe strowing? Answer to this question is the phrase tireless strowing is used by the poet to urge his countrymen to be free from laziness and fight hard constantly to achieve perfection in whatever they choose to do, thus make their country a free nation. Next question. What has the poet compared religion and dead habit with? Answer to this question is the poet has compared religion to a clear stream and dead habit to a dry desert. Next question. Whom does the poet address as thee and my father? Answer to this question is the poet is addressing to God as thee or my father. Next question. According to the poet, what must be done for achieving ever-widening thought and action? Answer to this question is ever-widening thought and action means we should not be narrow or shallow in our mentality. People should have a broad mind and a broad heart. They should enrich their thinking day by day. Next question. Describe the poet version of heaven of freedom. Answer to this question is by heaven of freedom means the poet means India's social, cultural and psychological independence and unity. Next question. According to the poet, how should knowledge be? Answer to this question is according to the poet, the knowledge should be free, which means every person has the knowledge about worldly matter. Poet says that the country can develop only if people have broad knowledge. It keeps people united, not dividing them on the basis of caste and creed. Next question. What kind of domestic wall is the poet speaking about? Answer to this question is narrow domestic walls are the barriers of class, caste, creed, color, religion, and other elements that divide people from one another. Next question. According to the poet, what is dead habit? Answer to this question is according to the poet, dead habit means a country which has not lost the right path in the dreary desert of old tradition, rituals, and customs that are harmful for the country. Thanks friends. If you like this video, don't forget to like and share the video, and if you are new for the channel, then subscribe the channel to get new updates and new videos.